and welcome to Beads Jar. My name's Billy, and for today's project I'm going to show you how to make this very cute little charm grace bird bracelet. We're going to use for this project some silver crimp beads, some seed beads, and we've got two 5mm jump rings, a lobster clasp, this very beautiful little bird sterling silver charm, and our stardust 6mm beads. I'll be working with a 7-strand cable wire with a nylon coat over the top. And tool wise, we've got 2 pairs of flat nose pliers and a pair of side cutters as well. The first thing I'm going to get you to do is pop a crimp bead onto the wire. Now this is a really good project if you've not done jewellery before, as it's quite nice and straightforward. So all we do is place this little metal bead on the end of the wire and use the flat nose pliers, and we're just going to crush that bead. So you just want to get on top of the bead and then you just squeeze that, and as you crush it, it clamps onto the wire and it shouldn't move. So I've got my crimp bead on there, and the first thing I'm going to do is thread my little charm onto the wire. I'm now going to add 11 of my stardust beads onto the wire next to it. So this is going to be one side of our beading project. I've said 11, but obviously it depends on the length. So this is going to create half of the bracelet length on this side. So you're just going to thread it away. Obviously you might need to add more or even less depending on the size of the bracelet that you require. Okay, so I've got my 11 beads on there. 5, 10, 11. And I'm also going to now add 3 seed beads onto the end of my wire. So I've just put 3 beads there. We're now going to attach the fastening onto this end of the wire before we go back to the opposite side and reattach the fastening there. So all we've done is strung the beads, but I've popped that crimp bead so that they can't all fall off the end. Take your jump ring and a pair of flat nose pliers, and you're going to hold one side of the pliers and make sure the split of the ring is facing upwards. You're then going to use another pair of pliers to hold the opposite side, and then you're going to push one side away and bring one towards you to open up the jump ring. Take the loop end of your clasp, and then we're going to go through the clasp and then we're going to close this jump ring back together. When you close it back together, you do the reverse of how you opened it, and that way you end up with a nice clean seal and there's no overlapping on the jump ring. Go back to the wire that didn't have the crimp bead on, and this time we're going to put another crimp bead onto this wire. So this is going to be next to our beads. And then you want to take the wire end, so the crimp bead's here, and we're going to take the end of the wire through the jump ring that we attached to the clasp. So up through the jump ring. You then bend the wire back on itself, so you're going once through the jump ring, and then we're going to take those ends through the crimp bead. So we've got twice through the crimp bead. So we go through the jump ring, and then back out through the crimp bead. Hold those 2 ends together, and then you want to pull the crimp bead all the way up to the jump ring. Get it as close as you can, because we don't want a big loop of wire on show. So we push that up to the jump ring, and then using the flat nose pliers, we're going to crush that crimp flat. Nice firm crush, and the crimp bead won't move along the wire. You then want to let the beads fall back along the wire and into the tail end. So the tail end is going to be tucked inside these beads. You can cut it off, but sometimes doing that gives you a bit of a scratchy end at the end of your project, and that can irritate the skin. So personally, I find it better to tuck it inside, and that way it's hidden from being scratchy here. So we're just going to let those beads fall down. So that was the half of the bracelet done. And then if we swap sides, so I'm just going to flip that round, so I'm working to my right. Obviously if you're left-handed, more comfortable is to work to your left. Using my side cutters, I'm just going to remove my little crimp bead that we put on so the beads didn't fall off. And then I'm going to string the next 11 metal beads here. So we've got the 11 on, and there's the beautiful little cute sterling charm just sat in the centre there. Obviously you could replace that with any charm to personalise it for a gift, so something specific to that individual. And then before we end the stringing on this side, the 3 little seed beads are going to go on as well. So they're all going to go down to the beads again. So we've got our length there, and then we're going to thread our crimp bead on. So pop the crimp bead. This time we're not going to stay at the end of the thread, we're actually going to drop that down to the seed beads as well. Take our jump ring, and I'm just going to hook that on. So I'm going to use the clasp, open that, and pop the jump ring onto the clasp. And then we're going to go through the jump ring with the wire. Okay, just check that end is still tucked in before we crush anything, so it's all tidy at this side. So we're going to go back through the crimp bead, the 3 seed beads, and then out through the metal bead here. So I'm just taking that wire back through the crimp bead and the seed beads as well. So we're just going through all of those. I'll just do that to show you. And that bead as well. I'm going to take the tail end off to the side, and now I'm going to pull this in. So to help me, I'm just going to use a pair of pliers, and the end that's going all the way through is the one I'm holding on to. So I'm going to place my pliers on the wire that's going all the way through this bracelet, and then I'm pulling the tail end to bring that in nice and neat, because we don't want a big loop of wire. Always keep checking as well that this side hasn't popped out, because we want that tail end tucked inside. So I'm going to keep pulling, remove the pliers, and just give that one last pull. As you can see, we've got the nice neat loop now formed, and then I'm just going to cut the excess wire away. So I know I haven't crushed the crimp bead at this moment, but I'm going to take the wire away first, and then just pull back a slight bit on the fastener to tuck that end tidily away. So cut that off, and you'll notice that means the end slipped back into there, and then we crush that crimp bead. Now do be careful, you don't want to get the glass ones because they will just crack, and we are going to crush the crimp bead flat. And that is your very, very cute sparkly charm bracelet.
I hope you've enjoyed our tutorial, and if you have liked it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch all the latest projects we've been doing and product reviews. Leave us a comment and let us know what you think. Bye!